It is the Golf on CBS preview show. Shane Bacon, Patrick McDonald. We got Joe Musso, who's going to join us in a bit. But you know what? When a man shows up early, he gets to be a part of the convo right out of the gate. Moose, we appreciate you taking a little bit of time to chat with us. And I want to start with you on Scottie Scheffler because we saw, this was as good a performance as you can see from a golfer in a what's called a non-major, non-enormous PGA Tour event. But in terms of performance from Scottie Scheffler, is this the best he's ever played in your opinion?
First off, appreciate you guys having me on here, and I will always show up 15 early. We run Lombardi time. But in terms of like where this ranks for Scottie, I was looking for the through lines or as we talked about right after the tournament, I was looking for sort of the answers to the questions, and the left ball seemed like it had an answer. We didn't see much of that. Rick Gaiman does great work. I know our audience is well aware. He outlined a bunch of the strokes gain stuff, and statistically, this was about as good as we've seen Scottie Scheffler. He admitted at Travelers Media Day, he jumped on a Zoom with us as past champion earlier in the week, that he and I know he said it out loud, but he was a little bit more forthcoming to Boomer, who was asking the questions, Chris Berman, about how disappointed he was that his ball striking was just a tick off this year. So if he was looking to remedy that, and we see these numbers, the strokes gain stuff's great. He scares historic stuff. And also, we touched upon this on Sunday, but the fact that Scottie usually wins the grinder battle, like Scottie wins the one where everybody's trying to find birdie and make par and not just sprint to the finish. This was a different gear where he said, I'm going to rip the governor off and make, I don't know, what was it at the end of the week, 30 something of these things, and really just do whatever what needed to be done, because he didn't get pushed. It wasn't scary at the end, but EVR keeps pace on Sunday. I think he gamified it enough to take what he wanted away from that day.
Patrick, I was looking at some of the wins, dude, from Scottie. I mean, I judge this stuff by blowout victories. In the match play, and that's one-on-one, obviously, he wins 4-3. I mean, that's convincing over Kevin Kisner back in 2022. That 3-shot win at the Masters in 2022 with a 4-putt at the last, 5-shot victory at his first Players, 5-shot victory in 24 at Bay Hill, 4-shot victory last year at Augusta, won Heritage the next week by 3, wins the Tour Championship, which obviously, with all the scoring and numbers and all that stuff is a little weird, but he wins that by 4, and now this by 8. I mean, most of the victories when Scottie's on his game, I mean, he's kind of walking up 18 comfortably.
How about those 3 years for Scottie Scheffler and Kevin Kisner? Scheffler just ascending to the best player in the world, and Kisner now one of the best analysts in the world, I guess you could say. But that is crazy that you just look back 3 years and those two were in the finals at the match play. And that's when Scheffler first came world number 1. So we touched on it post game, and I think both his comebacks, like the Players Championship, like the Olympics, and then just running away from the field like that, it all comes back to his mental state in the moment and just staying in the process. And we've heard Rory McIlroy talk about wanting to be so process oriented. We heard that all week at the Masters, him being able to do that. And Scheffler's the best at it. And you can really see that, like a Sunday when you're ahead by a jillion strokes, you shoot 30 still on the front 9, and you just keep on pushing and pushing and pushing. And that's why you get the record score like he shot. So it just comes back to me just being so process oriented and how easy that seems to come to him when it is so difficult to do.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching. I was on a flight this morning. By the way, this is not my normal, like a basement that you normally record in. With the place. I didn't do anything different. By the way, just shines my hair a little bit more. But I was flying this morning, and I was watching Scottie with Grant Horvat on YouTube, and a couple things stood out to me on that video. One was he didn't remember if he'd shot 58 or 59 at his home club for the course record, which just makes me crack up laughing. It's like nobody in the world doesn't remember their low score, right? Everybody knows that. But I think that does speak a little bit to Scottie. And then, Grant was asking him some questions about like goals and what's next and what do you want to accomplish. And he was basically shoving the question aside and talking a lot about, I'm kind of a week-to-week guy. And I go back to your point, Patrick, on Sunday is like a round-around guy, right? He shows up on Sunday morning, he's got this big lead. He could shoot even par and likely win, and he goes out in 30. I think it just goes back to all of what we've said is so good about Scottie is the fact that kind of when he wakes up in the morning, it feels like all of it is the same, from the way he approaches it to the practice, to the range, to the grip, to the 7-iron. All of this stuff kind of goes back to day one golf. And I'm so impressed by what he does in that world. I mean, there you go. I mean, look, I mean, Moose has got the grip for goodness sake. Like, you cannot not have the grip at this point. This is like when Zach Johnson won the Masters and everybody bought a Seymour and brought that business back into life. But, you know, I mean, Patrick, like you talk so much about the mental state of Scottie, and I thought it was on full display on Sunday because most people with a big lead go out there and try not to lose it. And it felt like he was going out there trying to shoot 61 or 62.
Yeah, they start playing four corners a little bit too early, and then it gets a little hairy. The other team makes a run. You're like, oh, God, now I got to play a little bit of offense and actually try a little bit.
A little bit like the NBA games last night, mind you, with the Celtics. Like, it's like, what do we do in the third quarter? Let's just keep shooting threes. It's like, well, the Knicks are going to tie the game. You know, it's like this happens across the board in sport, right?
Yeah.
I'm glad, and sorry to jump you there, Patrick. I'm glad you said that because I'm sitting here listening to you, and who are the parallels throughout history that have attain greatness this way? Tiger, there was bombast to it. There was fist pumping. He was always in the moment, but I feel like he engaged with the idea of legacy throughout his career a little bit more than Scottie is right now. However, early on, we are in this trajectory of greatness. Like Federer comes to mind, like almost the stoic greatness. Individual pursuits obviously are easier to draw these parallels. It's hard to point to a quarterback or a point guard because team sport and often sports that require a little bit more in the sense of, I don't know, outward emotion, for lack of a better term. So I'm trying to find the parallel of who is the person that you point to that you say, like, Scottie kind of reminds me of in the way that he's chasing this greatness.
That's a good question. I
don't look Steffi to me personally, just because I think Steph has that.
Yeah.
He's kind of got the childish ability to have fun on the basketball court. Patrick, I know you were going to mention somebody as well. I mean, does Steph make sense? The fact that he makes it look so easy, and it seems like he's the same guy in whatever year, 16 or 17, that he was when he was playing at Davidson.
Oh man, I think you could say Steph is almost like Rory with the back half of this career, getting better and better, and with age. I honestly, I don't have a parallel for Scheffler because even like Tiger, you said, Joe, he was very vocal about, I'm going to break Jack's record. I'm going to get to this many major championships. When you ask Scottie Scheffler what his goal is, even Rory has his 3 goals. He's already ticked off one, obviously. It is, I want to have a good attitude and I want to put the best of my ability into every single shot. And that is what he says verbatim every single week. It's not, I want to be world number 1 for this long. I want to win this many major championships. It's like, I just want to put my best into every single shot. And I've never heard him deviate from that, which I've never heard from any other athlete, really. And I'm sure I'm missing someone.
He still gives us those reflective glimpses, like we got, the frog in his throat after he wins a tournament that he's supposed to win, that he blitzes the field in, but still, like, he is engaging with these things in private, and they mean so much to him being right there in his hometown and winning the event that you grew up going to. That would be the Western for me. But like, that's just, that's lifetime dream stuff. And it doesn't have to be Augusta, Georgia for it to be a dream realized. And I thought that was really cool on Sunday.
Yeah, some athlete that comes to mind, I'm thinking about now that we're talking about this, is the Joker, who has it really kind of separated. I'm this amazing basketball player, best in the world right now, basketball on the court, but this isn't who I am and this isn't my entire life. And even at times it almost looks like he'd rather not be playing basketball, even though we know he wants to be playing basketball. You saw him last night.
No interest in the parade. No interest in the parade. That's
he wants to be. He's like, I'd like to watch horses. And I think sometimes with Scottie, it's like, faith comes to mind first. Family obviously is always there as well. And even like, going back to the Grant Horvat video, like even him talking about being a pro golfer is interesting because golf was Tiger. Like, that was his life. And it still is, right? Like, he's still trying to come back and play when many, many, many mere mortals would have said, I've played, I did my things. I don't want to keep trying to come back from all these injuries, right? Phil Mickelson, much of the same, still competing, still grinding, now trying to get into the YouTube golf space, like always trying to recreate a new identity, but the identity still is a golfer. I think Federer is an interesting character in this because I do think Roger was one of those guys that understood, even when he was at his best, that there were flaws in his game. And I think it would show up sometimes in the biggest of stages.
Yeah.
But I wonder if Joker is maybe a comp to Scottie, just simply in the skill set and how everybody agrees And Patrick, going back to your Jordan Spieth video that you posted that I know got aggregated and people picked it up. By the way, Zyre Golf, nice job. But like
don't get me started.
But it's like there's a level of humility to the greatness, which is so strange when you are this dominant,
And maybe also paralleled in the sense, sorry, Patrick, that like we're about to give SGA the MVP. We know who the best player in the league is. Like we could do the Rory thing. We could do the, Collins just a putter away. We could do the Bryson's going to be ready. And I'm sure we will do all those things in the lead up to the PGA Championship. We know who the MVP is.
Yeah. It comes back to caring the exact right amount about it. Right.
That's a great point.
And I think the Joker, I think, is a great comp. I think all we need is a video of Scheffler riding the ponies in the little cart behind him.
What's Scottie's carriage racing? We have to find Scottie's carriage racing.
Once we get that, the parallel is complete. I think that's a really good one, Shane.
Yeah, maybe he's a hunter, maybe he's a fisher. I don't think what's funny about Scottie is we don't know a lot about him away from being the golfer, right? I mean, you don't
hoops.
He played basketball. He was into that, like obviously the dad thing. And I do think the more you see into the world of Scottie, even like some of these videos you see online, like you do see him being that competitive guy that Colt Knost and all these people talk about all the time, right? Because you do see him needling people and getting in their kitchen a little bit. But like you don't know a ton about Scottie Scheffler outside of.
We did get a very human peek into the life and times of Scottie Scheffler during that same Zoom call at the Travelers Media Day. He's answering these questions, giving us thoughtful stuff, giving us a little bit more than he would at like a normal media availability. And the landscapers in the window behind him blowing the leaves, and he keeps peeking it because he could hear them. We couldn't hear the landscape, but it was just like it was a human moment. It was like, oh, it's just a guy at his house and the landscapers are there.
Patrick, how big was this for Scottie? Just to get a win, not the blowout victory, but just to get a victory before we get into this kind of grind run of the majors.
Yeah, I know the haters and losers, of which sadly there are many, are going to be like, oh, he won the CJ Cup, Byron Nelson against a CPA and a CFA and whatever else you want to call out there. But look, you mentioned it, Joe mentioned it. He was getting annoyed by some of the questions, I think, and the comparisons to 2024. Unfair, probably winning 9 times. You're not going to do that back-to-back seasons. So I think mentally it kind of puts him in a much better spot going to the PGA Championship. And, I'm very curious about how him never playing Quail Hollow in a stroke play event, as opposed to Rory McIlroy. Jordan Spieth just called it the Rory McIlroy Country Club on the range there at the Philly Cricket Club, how that kind of juxtaposes. But I think it's a big win. Obviously, not in the resume or anything like that, but just to set them up for the PGA. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking. I mean, we touched on this throughout the process of the Scottie Scheffler season. 9 starts, 9 top 25, 6 top 10s, a second, and now a win. Not 2024. I mean, but he's almost won $7 million, this year. I mean, this is like a very, very impressive season for basically anybody that is in a Rory or a Scottie Scheffler. So impressive stuff. I tasked you guys with something as we kind of turn to the PGA Championship, because I know we're going to touch on this week and Philly cricket and all that stuff. And I want to touch on some of our picks later in the show. But I think all the attention right now, at least in my world, has moved to the PGA Championship. And I think the reason being is there's all these storylines. So there's a game we're not going to mention that people play in life. We're going to play a version of that. It's going to be what you think's going to happen at the PGA Championship. And I'm going to name some of the possibilities here. What you think's going to happen in 2 weeks at the second major of the year, what you hope is going to happen at the second major of the year, and the dream situation for what's going to happen at the year. And I'm just going to throw out a couple of the scenarios we're looking at.
Think, hope, dream.
Yeah, you guys can also pull something else if you want. I mean, you can
eat,
go
pray,
with
love.
Something off. Yeah. Eat, pray, love, whatever you want. There's another one, like I said, we're not going to say it.
It's in my kitchen somewhere.
Yeah. So Rory obviously going for 2 straight majors, right? And this long dream of, the Grand Slam in the same season, all of it ending in Northern Ireland. Like, I mean, they write these movies about sports. This one probably wouldn't even make it to script because it'd be so wild. Rory is one of those options. Jordan, who's been playing great golf, who played an excellent round of golf on Sunday, could potentially make 2025 Grand Slam year, right? He could win the PGA Championship and then kind of, trump Rory, if you will, in 2025 in terms of the storylines and what he was able to do. JT, trending, played well at this golf course the last time the PGA was here. A possibility of winning 3 Wanamakers. Bryson, looking for a third major, first PGA Championship, coming off a win on Live. And then obviously Scottie Scheffler trying to win his first non-Augusta major of his career. And to me, it's you win the second major that's not a Masters, and now you're off and running, and we could see what you could do. Can you get to 5? Can you get to 6? Can you get to 8? Can you get to 10? Who knows? So those are kind of my options. You guys, again, can go off the board. Moose, you're a guest. We'll start with you. If you want to, you know what, let's punt around. So we'll start with, what are we starting with? Hope?
We're starting with Hope. Okay.
Hope.
Let's start with Hope. Hope is always a great place to start.
Yeah, gotta love
Hope. Let's lead with Hope here. And I hope that it's the Rory storyline that we're delivered here, because I'm not sure that I think it'll happen. We can get to that more in my think, but my hope is that we end up going to the US Open with this conversation alive and well, and with Rory having claimed not the 3 biggest tournaments of the season, but now the 4 biggest tournaments of the season, consecutive majors after not winning for a decade plus. Like, there's so many ways to frame what that would mean to Rory and what that would mean to, like I said, the greater narrative around this season, which I think has been spectacular. And we can always nitpick and hope for other things, but that would be my hope, is that Rory McIlroy can keep that flame burning, show us that he's freed up. And I do have a big question of Rory, because I haven't gotten an answer on that, despite the 3 wins and the major championship, the career Grand Slam complete. Can he make the 5-footer with the chips in the middle? Because, I mean, he had to hit it inside the leather at the Masters. Not to say that's a negative. It's one of the great golf shots that we'll ever have. But the 2 putts that come to mind are the 1 in regulation to win it, and 15 after hitting one of the greatest golf shots we've seen in major championship competition. He misses that one. So with an hour left in a major championship, if he's there, I want to see what Rory McIlroy is inside 5 feet again.
Patrick, I was rewatching 2015 Open the other day, and normal
as one does.
Stuff. Yeah. And I don't think people remember the level of hype on that back 9 on Sunday when Spieth was making that run. Because this idea of winning 4 straight in the same season was on the table. And I think that the hope, to Moose's point on Rory, is a lot of fun. What's your hope? What do you hope to see in a couple of weeks on Sunday?
I hope we get another battle. I don't know who it's going to be between, but I hope we get one down to the wire, like the US Open, like the Masters, obviously, because, man, I know we've been spoiled these past 2 years, but come on, let's just keep a good thing going right now. Why stop? Why stop at 1 in a row in 2025 when we can go with 2? And so I think a Scottie versus Bryson one would be very fun, because that's a pairing you could see at Bethpage, like we saw at Whistling Straits, seeing them go back and forth. They have some good blood, unlike Rory and Bryson, who seemingly get more and more bad blood by the day. Word to me. Yeah, Bryson not mentioning him in Korea too, and talking about guys who are playing well at the moment. So I'm hoping for an all-time battle again, and I'm also hoping Patrick Reed plays well, so we can start pushing that P. Reed to Bethpage train.
Get him on the team. Let's get the guy on the team.
Needs to be there.
Come on. What are
he
we
just
doing
sued
here?
all of them guys.
Let's go.
I guess Bryson did too. So
on the Ryder Cup team.
Need him.
I hope Scottie wins. That's my hope. I want Scottie. I don't want him to go through another golf course. I think plays. I mean, every golf course plays into Scottie's game. I mean, when you hit it straight and far, and your irons are great, and you chip great, and the putter can show up like it has this season, you're gonna have an opportunity anywhere. But I don't want to see Scottie go through these 2 majors, the PGA and the US Open, without one. So my hope is Scottie gets the victory. Now let's go to what we think is going to happen. And Patrick, I'm going to start with you. What do you think is going to happen come PGA Sunday? Like, I know what I think is going to happen. I want to hear what you think is going to happen.
I think of the storylines you mentioned, none of them are going to materialize. And instead, we're going to get a back-to-back champion. And Xander Schauffele is going to swoop in and win at Quail Hollow. Runner-up in 23, runner-up in 24. 12 straight top 20 finishes in major championships, 5 straight top 10 finishes in major championships. Everyone is talking about all these storylines, and no one is talking about the world number 3 the defending champion, the guy who has 2 major trophies with them. It is absurd to me that no one is mentioning his name. So I think he swoops in there, ruins all the storylines, and suddenly has as many major championships as Jordan Spieth.
I mean, that would be wild. Get 3 in 12 months
12
would
months,
be pretty
yeah.
wild. I mean, just all of a sudden now you're in the conversation for most majors of this era. Definitely a possibility, and I think it's something that should be on the list. Moose, what do you think is going to happen?
My think is your hope. I think Scottie wins this. I think we do get another duel, whether his foil is Bryson or it's Xander or it's Rory. I think that the PGA is going to deliver again as it has in years past, because like Patrick was saying, this is a tournament that just continues to deliver. And I know you were talking about the major season that we've seen thus far and stretching into last year. But if you think of the PGAs of past, it's sort of just been banger after banger. Say what you want about the test that's presented to these players, but last year we get Xander and Bryson. Victor was a key character there until the final hours of Sunday. We also get the world number 1 in handcuffs. The year prior, we get it's Brooks and Victor dueling in Rochester, and the Blocky arc happens. Like the PGA
First time you mentioned what's the minute? 21 minutes.
I got him in. I got him in.
Minutes in.
I had him for my next segment.
Shout out to the good folks at Arroyo. But no, there's always something. JT comes, he was 8 back with how many to play? JT comes all the way back, beats Zalatoris in a playoff, and we get a swing so bad by Mito Pereira that opened the door that became its own storyline. Like that had viral legs to it. So the PGA keeps giving us these duels, to your point, Patrick, but we always get like a third storyline. So back to the answer to my question, I think we get a duel between Scottie and someone, and I can't wait to see what that ancillary storyline is that we're presented here at the PGA.
I think Bryson wins by 6. That's what I think.
Wow.
I think Bryson blows the field out. I think he straightens the driver out, comes in with a lot of confidence. I think the win was huge for him. We talked so much about the Scottie victory. I think Bryson getting a win, 3 rounds, whatever you want to call it about Liv, it doesn't matter to me. I mean, I think Bryson's one of those guys that rides momentum, and I think it was important for him to get the win. I think Bryson might win this thing by a lot. I could see the golf course playing into his hands.
Forgive me, I didn't catch much of Korea. The distance control was remedied. Obviously, he won, but I don't know how to.
0 seconds of 0.0 seconds of it.
Well, we can assume.
I think he said it was better.
Chucky 3 sticks. Iron looked better. And to Shane's point, rain in the forecast Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday next week in Charlotte. Wet golf course, probably a bit more favorable for Bryson.
I think Bryson blows him out. All right, let's go to what we want to have happen. And I think there's an easy answer here. I think the easy answer for everybody is Mr. Jordan Spieth on Sunday, 12-footer. What did we say last week, Patrick? He was going to make a 7-footer win.
Didn't 7-footer
happen. Didn't quite, but
made
he played
the putt on 18 though.
He made about a 20-footer on 18.
Yeah.
It was a big putt. I think what everybody wants to have happen is Jordan Spieth win. My want is I want Rory to win. That's what I want to see happen. I think that Rory carries a weight in professional golf right now that is unrivaled even by Bryson. I mean, I know Bryson is extremely popular, but Rory touches the golfer. He touches the grandparent. He touches the non-golf fan. I mean, Elton John's texting him, right, and calling him and stuff like that. I mean, all of these people care about golf that when Rory's involved. He's kind of been the guy in my life that I feel like when he's playing, no matter the tournament, you're going to turn it on. And I think Rory winning 2 in a row, headed to a U.S. Open at a golf course where you've got to hit it far, would make golf go to a place that I'm not sure we've seen it go to in quite some time. So my want is Rory wins 2 straight. Patrick, where are you at in terms of what you want?
Yeah, I mean, golf is hot right now. You see the CJ Cup, Byron Nelson just blow the doors off of F1. Hate that for Darren Rovell. My dream is obviously Spieth. I'd love to see Spieth beat Scheffler in the end, especially after how they talked. And I was walking at Augusta early round 1 when Spieth was like still doing stuff. And we're like, we've never seen these two go at it before. And so Spieth doing that over Scheffler is my dream. Dream number 2, though, would be Michael Block finishes inside the top 15. I already have the tweet in the drafts. Top 15s in major championships. Michael Block 2, Joaquin Niemann 0.
Whoa.
So I need that one to happen.
Very good.
Wow, look
Very
at
good.
you, prepared and ready.
Prepared, like Musso.
Just like Joe coming in early. Joe, what do you got? What do you got in terms of what you dream, what you want, what you hope to have happen in your life come PGA Sunday?
To quickly piggyback there, I was lucky to be standing way too close to the 72nd hole when Blocky got up and down, and just the curtain call, man. Jeter-esque. I mean, it's video doesn't, video does not do justice. That was the biggest pop of the day. The tournament ended. Brooks wins the Wanamaker. He walks right by, and it was like, yeah, but the Blocky pop.
Also, Moose,
the needle,
incredible up and down, like from absolutely nowhere.
I'm at green level, could not see him. He was so that grade up to the green where he got up and down from, and the fans willed that one into the hole. We speak about it jokingly. It was a fun storyline, but Blocky back in the field by way of I think it was a second place finish at the Club Pro Championship.
Cash for
first
us
round
here.
leader. But my dream, shout out to producer Josh here. Forget your dreams. It's going to be Bryson by 6. I think he was his best approach week in Korea since Pinehurst. So there's that.
You go.
My dream, and I'd like to zig where others zag. I don't dream of a Jordan Spieth win here. I want to see Jordan complete the career Grand Slam, just like not right now, dude. Like I want, when we look back in history, for 2025 to have been the year that Rory completed the Grand Slam, not the year where we got 2, because it took us 50 years to get 2. So maybe let's let it breathe for a minute.
Let's a little bit. Let's let Jordan lose a little more hair and get a little older and have a little more scar tissue.
I love working with you guys because you check all the boxes for me, and I can just look at narrative as I watch the golf on Saturday and Sunday, and we do our post round on HQ. And in looking at the narrative, I'm not sure I want to tell that story 6 weeks after we told the biggest story we could this season. So I'm zigging where they zag on Jordan. My dream, I don't know why Justin Thomas is stuck in my head, because a third Wanamaker doesn't do a whole lot for me in terms of how it changes the way that I view Justin Thomas. If we're talking about historically looking back, third major does take you to a different echelon. To be so specialized in the sense that it's Wanamaker, I think that one might lose luster for lack of a better pun, but yeah, put me down for JT as my dream, because it would be the road back. I think that we saw it and we felt it at Harbor Town, but talk about a guy who wants the ball. The same question I posed of Rory, what are you going to be from 5 feet with it on the line? 5 feet with it on the line, 12 feet, 20 feet with it on the line. Justin Thomas wants the ball. I love watching him in those moments. So I'm going to say that's my dream, because he will have had to have put himself in that moment over 3 days and 9 holes.
Patrick, we spent a lot of time talking about this upcoming major, and we these days never talk about Koepka. And I mean,
that's
I always think about motivation for players, and I do wonder if there's an added level of motivation now that Rory gets to 5 for Brooks. It feels like to me, I mean, and I know nothing about this, so I don't know what he's doing back in Florida, things like that, but it does feel like maybe not as much time grinding as we've seen in Koepka's historical relevant years. I do wonder if Rory gets to 5, now Brooks cares a little bit more, because these are the events that seem like they set up well for his game, right? PGAs, US Opens, tough golf courses, grinded out places. Could Koepka make a run, do you feel like, or has the game just not been there?
The short game's been bad so far this year. That's kind of been the story of the past 12 months, honestly, where he was switching putters a little bit last year, put the gamer back in the bag this year. Ball striking still looks like Brooks Koepka, but again in Korea, I think he finished T20 multiple or double digits behind Bryson there. Yeah. It was all short game that really hindered him. So obviously he's won 3 out of the last 7 of these, which is bonkers.
Is that good?
But I do think Liv probably has the 3 most motivated guys in this field, maybe 4, honestly, with Koepka. I think Rahm's still pissed off of just about everything, wanting to prove himself, not getting the love for the top 10 finishes on Liv, 19 in a row now, guys. And of course, Joaquin the Dream Neiman still have something to prove. I think putting Augusta behind him is probably a good thing, and these next 2 major starts will be good for him. But I don't know what to do with Brooks. You can never count him out in the majors, because once you do, you look like a complete buffoon. But the short game is not good right now. That's all I'll say.
Can we revisit in a week? Because we always said Brooks was he towed the line between athlete and golfer. And what athlete has been able to do what they do, physically unprepared? I was unimpressed with the get off the bus factor from Brooks in the recent past when we've gotten to see him. It feels like, and I'm not going to question preparation or physical fitness, but like Brooks is a guy that like you usually when he steps into the arena, you know whether or not it's going to be one of those weeks. So like,
I think that's a fair point.
If I look at him on Wednesday and you get that feeling like Brooks looks good. Brooks might end up looking good. Like,
yeah, I mean, it would be, I'll say this, like in terms of the, I mean, like Xander not being a top 5 storyline is wild, right? Coming off, 2 majors last year, but Brooks not even being in the conversation right now. Hopefully that is motivation for him because, professional golf and major championship golf is way better when Koepka's involved. I mean, it's just more fun when he's one of the characters. And he's one of those guys that, Liv is so funny for so many players because they kind of go away, if you will, when Liv exists because you don't see him that often or you don't see him as much as you used to. Brooks is one of those guys that kind of was a Liv golfer before Liv even existed, right? Regular PGA Tour events, Brooks wasn't really around that often. And then you get to the majors and he would be motivated and play excellent golf. And so not a lot has changed in the way I look at Koepka, even with Liv becoming a thing. But I'd love to see Brooks shoot 3 under in the first round or be fifth through 2 rounds, just kind of to be there because Patrick's been beating this drum. JT in the major performances over the last few years has been terrible. And Koepka over the last couple of years has not been much better, right? So you got to show something, I think, and it would be cool. I'm going to throw a little curveball at you guys because producer Josh threw this our way, and I like it. Is there a dream first-time major winner? If we don't get one of these crazy storylines, is there somebody you'd love to see win a major for the first time? Moose, you're nodding your head.
I'm in on Vic. Like I think that these last 2 PGAs, he's been a huge part of the story until last 45 minutes of the tournament. He blows one into the face of the bunker in Rochester and then really never got the engine to turn over at Valhalla. But like he has put himself in position these last 2. That would be another redemptive story with the tinkering and the I've got my C stuff and I'm a 6 out of 10 and everything, all of this self-deprecation, self-loathing that he presents with. I want Victor again to show up and say, I feel good and I'm hitting it well and I believe in myself, and then go do it because you stir something there with Brooks. It's like, it's a story, and stories are about characters. And I love Viktor Hovland as a character for all his flaws and his success. I think that it'd be super interesting and to get him on the board.
Yeah.
Patrick,
I think the obvious choice is Patrick Cantlay, especially we're talking about being open and honest and likable with Victor. I think Cantlay certainly fits that bill also.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. I'll tell you this. That's who was in my brain.
I love Victor too. I love when, Shane, we've talked about this, when guys kind of figure it out late, like Colin's great, Ludwig's great. Those guys who just burst onto the scene and are superstars right away. But there's something about being in your mid-30s and finding your first one. And to me, I'm a fanboy through and through. I know he's not the most entertaining golfer to watch, but I'd love to see Russell Henley win a major championship. I know he's a big kind of your guy, Shane, but Russell probably wouldn't be a popular one, but he'd be a popular one in the McDonald household.
Yeah, I would love that. I mean, I said it before the year. I thought he was going to contend and win a major. I think I'm going to go Victor as well. Just, again, I think everything Moose said was perfect about Viktor Hovland. He's just, again, it kind of goes back to what I said about Brooks. It's more fun when those guys are dialed. So since we're talking PGA Championship, I think it's probably a good time to do a little power rankings. Moose, we do top 5 power rankings for the PGA Championship. Now, rumor is you went a little deeper than top 5. What's your numbers go to?
Okay, I didn't know if we were going to do top 3, top 5, or top 10. So I prepared for top 10, which means I haven't missed one. Which means I obviously prepared 14. I couldn't get to a 15th name, but I did make it to 14. So you stop me whenever.
All right, okay, just hit us real quick. I would just like to hear 14 to 10. Can you just do those numbers?
14 to 10, working backwards. 14 Cantlay. 13 Brooks out of respect only, 12 Hideki because like why not? 11 is Rahm. I'm low on Rahm. I'm so low on Rahm. I'm ready to close the book if he doesn't show up here. Wow. Like, and I'm not saying the book cannot be reopened once he gets back to a platform where competitive reps are a regularity, but he has not shown the ability to compete in the absence of. And I'm ready. I'm ready to stop doing he's the third. He has the third best odds. Like, God bless. Give me your money. I'll burn it for you. It's just not there right now. Yep. It's just not there right now. And I'll be the last one back on board with Rahm.
You won't be early on him.
I don't have to be early on Rahm's next major. So I have him slotted 11 and then 10, rounding things out. Bonus dream here. This would be a bonus dream scenario for me. I was at his first. Jason Day. Jason Day's played really good golf. I think the ball striking can keep him relevant. I did have him higher than 10. I think I had him 7, but downgraded him after the WD. And the Truist. I don't know. Do we know why the WD in Truist? Like, if it's physical, then he's off the list. I just downgraded him a little bit. He's 10.
Here we go. Per Dan Rappaport on the Twitter, aka Magic Johnson. Jason Day's withdrawal from the Truist is due to a disc herniation in the neck area. Ooh. Healing well, hopefully back for PGA.
Yeah.
Might have to take him off the board. So let's slot him as dream, and 10 is now void of a name.
So Moose, we do top 5 on the show.
Yes.
I just wanted to hear your 14 through 10 just because I was interested in it. Patrick, we'll start with your why don't we start with your 5-4, and we'll jump 5-4, and then we'll go Moose, then I'll go, and then I'll keep going on a little double snake, and we'll save our number 1 for last.
Okay, we'll go 5, then 4. Number 5, making his debut in the power rankings, both Masters and PGA, first time ever in 2025. It is part of my dream. Patrick Reed is inside the top 5, coming off a top 5 in Live Golf, Korea.
We're really giving a lot of weight to Live Golf Korea. Like, we're really taking some data points away from this.
It's
what's wrong with the bunkers, apparently.
A lot of correlation to Quail Hollow there in Korea. I got you. Couldn't tell you the golf course, but a lot of correlation. Watch out for Chucky 3
A lot of shot shaping, yep.
But Patrick Reed now has 4 top 10s in his last 5 worldwide starts. Could have easily won the Masters. He had that really bad 3, but not easily, but kind of difficult. He could have won the Masters.
He dunks one on 17.
Yeah. He was in the conversation, and runner-up finisher here in 2017. He's inside, I think, top 5 in strokes gained at Quail Hollow among those in this field. So Reed, number 5, and then my winner, slotting him at number 4, a little bit off the post, which I like. Xander Schauffele is going to be 4. I need to see a good driving performance out of him this week in particular. That's something what I'm a little bit worried about. Short games getting better by the week. Iron play still looks good, but the driver in particular I'm looking at in Philly.
Moose, what's your 5 and 4?
5, I've got Xander slotted because I'd love to have him higher. We don't have the example. The tape is not there, and we're fresh out of draft season. The tape is the tape. The
tape is the tape.
The big minds will always tell you that. Not enough tape on Xander. I've got him at 5. Would not surprise me in the least bit. That's why he cracks the top 5. At number 4, I have Colin. Shane, we sat there and called for a putter switch. I don't know if any of our content got to him. There was a putter switch. We'll see what he comes into this week and next with. But I just think that I think that it matches what's asked of you in a PGA Championship setting. Now, the putting needs to be better. The chipping needs to be better. But I think a little bit of the positive rub with Joe Greiner on the bag, we're going to see what that looks like here in Philly. And then if that has positive signs, I could even move him up to I think my top 3 set. I don't think Colin could do even a Colin win this week wouldn't jump him. So I've got Colin comfortably slotted at 4. Let's see something, pal.
By the way, we haven't mentioned this. What if Joe Greiner just keeps winning with different people?
Just
like win with JT, win with Colin,
rackle them off.
Who's next? Maybe he goes over and caddies for Nelly Corda, tries to get a major over there. Just like, let's pick up the victories around the world. Maybe he goes back to live, and if they go back to Korea, like get over there and jump on Bryson's back. My number 5, first crack of the top 5, I think as well, Patrick, for the year, I believe. We picked him last week. He almost won. Give me Jay Spieth, number 5. I might be dreaming a little bit. I would love to see it. The motivation is there. We've talked a lot about Jordan on the show already, but I'm putting Spieth firmly at 5. And then number 4 is a guy I think has played with Spieth in some team events before. I'll double check that. We'll get Josh on that. But Justin Thomas is my number 4. Won on this golf course before, obviously. you kind of forget like how good he was at the end of that PGA in 17. I mean, it was incredible play down the stretch. But both of those guys are my 5 and 4, and then I'll just roll right into 3 and 2. Bryson 3 for me. Again, I just think Bryson's got a really good chance to win this. Would be surprised if he doesn't finish in the top 3, honestly, at this point, the way he's playing and the way he seems to show up at the majors. You know, he's kind of becoming the new major guy. Like every major, it feels like he's right there. And then a little switch on my 1 and 2. I got Rory 2. I got Rory moving down on the power rankings. Been doing a little too much TV for me. Went Fallon. I was surprised by that. Can't believe he didn't go Colbert. I'm assuming it's some relationship there with NBC. I would have gone Colbert, even though, I mean, Fallon's more of a golfer. Yeah, I mean, you know, you kind of got to do that, get ready for the U.S. Open. But Rory is number 2 for me. Moose, we'll go with you 3 and 2.
Exact. Bryson at 3, Rory at 2. My note on Rory is he fat and fed? And not that not that the edge is off, like that could go one of two ways with him having accomplished this lifelong goal. But to your point, I want to see more golf. We will. It's just how the schedule worked out. We're condensed here, major 1 to major 2. And if you're going to be a Masters champion and a Grand Slam winner, there are going to be things asked of you from the outside. So I don't discredit him for that, but how far from his routine from Pebble to now, how far was he taken from that routine with what was asked from him between Augusta and here? So I got Bryson 3. I got Rory 2. I think number 1 is pretty obvious. JT and who'd you have? JT and Spieth did crack my top 10, for the record to reflect.
We'll get those all printed out and post those on social as well. Patrick, are you similar in that 3-2 range?
Similar in 3 with Bryson. 2, I have Scottie Scheffler. I do not have the Masters champion quite yet. The question with Scheffler is, I'm not saying he's not a good fit for Quail Hollow. Scottie Scheffler is a good fit for every single golf course. But when you have a peer who has won here 4 times and has dominated at this golf course, I do have concerns about the edge. Everyone's saying the weight's off the shoulders for Rory, who is my number 1, but it's uncharted territory for him too, right? A lot of distractions in the locker room right now. Fallon, do you think he's giving him rah-rah speeches? I don't think so. He's just laughing over his desk.
A rah-rah guy. He might have.
So, Poppy made a putt too. Look at this video of Poppy making the putt.
By the way, I don't know how much of the content you guys consumed from the kind of car wash that Rory did, but it was like Poppy putt. You won the Masters. What'd you guys watch that weekend on TV? And then it was like some golf gimmick. It just felt like every show was kind of the same. And there's so much depth in Rory. You know, I was like I wish somebody would have. I mean, I know you got to kind of do it for a grander audience, but I would have liked some deviation of, you know, I mean.
Let's dig deeper on
2015 or something when, you know, it'd been a while since something positive happened. So, Patrick, you got Rory 1 and Moose and I got Scottie 1.
Scottie 1. Patrick, how was the CNBC stuff? Did he?
You know, I actually,
I know you. Come on, don't disappoint me. Okay.
I know. I am a huge Andrew Ross Sorkin super fan. He's got the 2 different eyes. How can you not love that guy? I think the one positive of this press tour for Rory is, you know, he's practicing the chipping and pitching with all the washing machines he's hitting.
Great point.
Yeah,
that's extremely good point.
He's gonna hit that low spinner with a lot of effectiveness. That's my favorite. Just on Scottie, I have met number 1 partially because of what we said about Brooks too. Like, you don't get to world number 1 not having that competitive gene, not looking at the guy next to you and saying, I'm better than that dude. I think Scottie, maybe not rubbed the wrong way, but he could very well be inspired and driven by what he's watching Rory do. Like, I think that he does a very good job of presenting as the everyman, but there's a killer in there. And the killer wants to prove that he's still the alpha.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting year if, like, we start the year with Scottie pushing Rory, and then we get to the middle of the year and Rory's the guy pushing Scottie. And I mean, in sport and in golf, that's the dream, right? The 2 best players in the world are pushing each other. So those are the power ranks for the PGA. We'll get to them again next week. But right now we got to get to a little bit more, including a little bit of Truist talk. All right, it is Justin Ray time. You know him from Twitter. You know him from the 21st Group. It's weird introing you as like a Twitter guy. It feels like some like lowly musician, like intro in Justin Timberlake or something, but that's what I have to do every week. J Ray, you bring the stats every week. You got something on Was there 2 wire-to-wire victories last week?
Yeah, so before Scottie wrapped up his 358 shot win at the CJ Cup, Hyron Yu won at the Black Desert Championship wire-to-wire. You got to go back a ways to find LPGA and PGA Tour wire-to-wire no ties win on the same day. It actually hadn't happened since August 5th, 2007. That morning, Lorraine Ochoa went wire-to-wire at the AIG Women's Open, or Rico Women's British Open, whatever the British Open was called at that time. And that afternoon, Steve Flesch wrapped up a wire-to-wire win in Reno. So 2 vast sides of the golf spectrum. So, Shane, I know we've worked with our guy Flesch in the past. He's
the best.
He's a great dude. So, yeah, it had been a long time. I was surprised. It had been almost 20 years. I was still in college the last time that we saw 2 PGA Tour, LPGA wire-to-wire same day.
Dang. I think Steve Flesch was number 15 on Musso's PGA power rankings.
Yeah, we just missed the top 14. Just missed the top 14.
Yeah. But Scheffler, obviously unbelievable throughout the bag, but you got a stat from tee to green for us?
Yeah, so he gained 18.2 strokes on the field tee to green, and that number is gibberish without context. There have only been 11 instances since the beginning of ShotLink tracking, which is about 20 years, where a player gained 18 strokes or more tee to green. Scottie's the only guy to do it twice, not Tiger. I know it doesn't go all the way back to halcyon peak 2000 Tiger, but it goes back to about 2002, 2003. And Scottie is the only guy to do it twice. He did it at the Memorial Tournament a week when he didn't win. If you remember that week, he just hit everything in sight and couldn't make a putt to save his life and didn't end up winning the tournament. But yeah, the only guy to gain 18 or more strokes tee to green in the ShotLink era multiple times.
Even more impressive when we said, he had the thing won. He could have been taking uber conservative lines all day on Sunday. He said, forget it, and just lit the thing on fire.
Honestly, could have taken an Uber out of there and still won, I think.
Very well.
Poor Eric Van Rooyen, you're in the final group, you fire 63 and you make up 0 shots on the lead.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty unprecedented stuff there.
We are playing for second some weeks, and this was one of those weeks. J. Ray, I was talking to the guys where I so appreciate your work and the work that our entire team does to really quantify like the narratives that I'm trying to weave and the stories we're trying to tell on CBS. And as I look at the storyline of Rory McIlroy this season, I mean, it jumps off the page. It's historic stuff, but you're telling us that there's even more space for him to lift, separate, and elevate.
Yeah, absolutely. So we know how great his season has been. Pebble Players, the Masters, completing the Grand Slam. Just consider this fact, though. Last season, on approach shots from 50 to 125 yards, Rory averaged about a foot closer than the PGA Tour average. So, it wasn't the best season of his career, but he was a little bit above average when it came to those scoring clubs in the proximity of the hole. This season, from that range, it's 20 feet, 5 inches away. That's 2 feet worse than the PGA Tour average almost. So he's not even dialed in with his scoring clubs from a detailed analytical perspective, and he's still putting together this kind of year. If he can hone that in a little bit more, we could be talking about a multiple major championship season.
What does that number look like if we take the wedge at 13 out? Like, do we elevate there?
I don't know if that. I might have been too close, honestly.
88, 88, I think.
Oh, it was 88. Okay,
I think we were 88. Yeah.
Well,
it didn't help.
Dive in and see how bad that's impacted. But still, even with all, I mean, it's almost triple digits in terms of number of shots for the season, and he's 2 feet worse about thereabouts from the PGA Tour average from that proximity.
Moose, I tried desperately to forget that shot. Thanks for bringing it back up. I thought it was going to be out of my memory for the rest of
the season. There are more angles of it that I want. Release the tapes.
I don't like
2 angles of it.
I got to be honest. I don't want to see any angles of anything that happened on 13 that week. All right. Last thing. What about we were talking about players we hope or players we'd like to see win a first major, and a lot of us pointed towards Viktor Hovland. You've got something positive about Viktor Hovland this season.
Yeah, I know the storyline around Viktor ever since really he turned professional, and he's shined a light on it himself. It's just how abysmal he's been around the greens. 180th last season, strokes gained around the green. 173rd this season in that statistic. He's outside the top 140 in scrambling percentage this year. But I want to harp on the good. All right, he's in the top 20 for the 6th consecutive season in strokes gained approach. If the season ended today, so where he is right now in the top 20, he's the only player to be in the top 20 in strokes gained approach each of the last 6 seasons. Wow. Staggering consistency. I will say, though, Hideki Matsuyama currently 30th in that statistic, and he could join him, probably will by the time we get to the end of the year. But it just speaks to how consistent of an iron player Hovland is and how high his potential is. And, yeah, you're right. He'd be one of the guys at the top of the list in terms of who we'd like to see break through with their first major championship win.
J. Ray, I love that we were talking Scottie, Rory, and Victor for like 30 minutes, and these are the stats you had, and we didn't even know they were coming. That's how good you are. Maybe you got an ear to the ground. I feel like you always do. Appreciate your insights. As always, you're the man. What's the PGA prep like for you right now? Are you grinding yet, or are you deep into historical books or Quail Hollow books?
We're getting deep. We're getting deep into it. I mean, I know I talked to you guys about some of the different resources that I've got on full speed when it comes to major championship history. I still got a busy week this week. Got a big, great LPGA field, the Mizuho. Just worked on that today. And then we've got, of course, the Truist, the signature event. Can't wait to see Philadelphia Cricket Club on TV. That's going to be awesome. But yeah, no, we're full speed ahead, getting ready for PGA Championship. One of the most, I can't remember, Shane, a more anticipated PGA in recent years. It's just, so many great storylines going into it. Can't wait to just fully dive in and get prepped and ready to go.
I'll be the first one to congratulate Russell Henley on the victory. J. Ray, appreciate the time as always, my man. We'll talk to you next week.
All right. Thanks, fellas.
Fellas, it is Truist Championship week. I feel like we've spent so much time talking about the PGA. I mean, signature event, big field, really everybody in the field except for Scottie Scheffler. Patrick, I want to start with you. What are you most excited about in terms of Philly cricket, the golf course, the field, the tournament, all that?
Probably the Creator Classic here on Wednesday night.
Maybe.
Obviously.
I'm in Jacksonville.
Yeah, exactly. You think of the big events on the PGA Tour, they coincide with the Creator Classic, the Players Championship, and then the Truist Championship too. I will say, in the sports talking head business, you got to be negative every once in a while. I hate that a PGA Tour event is going to serve as a major championship venue. I hate it every time. And so I think the one bright spot out of that is that we get to see Philly Cricket Club. Right. And on every flyover, every picture, every video I've seen, it looks unbelievable. I hope the rain holds off a little bit. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case, maybe. But just seeing a new golf course and one the caliber of Philly Cricket Club is something I'm really looking forward to.
Moose, what you got?
Yeah, I just think that I'm preparing myself for golf design whiplash, because in my digestion of anything and everything that this game gives us, people can be critical of setups at PGA championships and the questions asked to players. And I hate it because the PGA keeps delivering what it has to us. So maybe next week is not for the design freaks, but this week certainly is. And I sink my teeth into that when I can. And I think really interesting to see guys unfamiliar with the place. So often it's your 100th go around and they know exactly where they can be and exactly where they can't be. I think maybe the unknown will create some moments of creativity for this field that we might not get at the PGA.
Yeah, I mean, I go back to Utah last year with Matt McCarty, winning there. And he said, he gets to an event on the PGA Tour that no other player had seen, and he's like, I mean, I know as much about this golf course as they do, and it gave him an opportunity to go out there and feel equal to those players that obviously have had a ton more PGA Tour experience than he has. So maybe somebody down the list can do something similar and pick up a win or get in contention where they otherwise wouldn't at a place like Quail Hollow. Moose, this is the time where you can feel really smart or really stupid.
Yeah, I got to stick my neck out there, huh?
We've both had opportunities this year to feel both of those things. This is time for can win, can't win for the Truist Championship. Obviously, again, a golf course that we don't know a ton about in terms of how players are going to play it. So this is really like closing your eyes and throwing darts at a board. Patrick, I'm going to start with you on who you've got. We'll go positive. Let's go. Okay. Who can win this week? Who do you feel like can win the week before the PGA?
Patrick Cantlay. This is a prime spot for him. He's kind of turned into
You've named Cantlay like 11 times on the show.
He's kind of a Northeast darling, right? Wilmington, Baltimore, Philly is perfectly in that list. I think
it's like Keegan's home course in Cromwell.
Yeah. Just a hometown kid, Patrick Cantlay, Philadelphia. He really embodies the city. Yeah. So I think Cantlay can win. Screw it. I'm gonna go sicko mode here. Tommy Fleetwood's can win this week.
Wow.
Despite a long history of not winning. And I'll go Daniel Berger can win this week. I had this stat, Shane. He was, I believe, 627th in the world after last year's CJ Cup Byron Nelson. He is now number 27 in the world.
Now that's Justin Ray level stats right there, dude. I'm very proud of you. Moose, I was going to let you go on your can win, but I'm going to go simply because of this. Tommy Fleetwood on my list.
Let's go.
Daniel Berger on my list. Oh, yeah. We've been doing the show too long together.
You guys are in lockstep often.
We had Jordan Spieth last week together. He almost won, almost in quotes, obviously. And my third can win, Mr. Xander Schauffele. Okay. Let's get in the narrative, my man. Get your name firmly in the narrative. Let's win this week. Roll into the PGA. People are going to talk about you. Because if he doesn't win this week, I mean, he's going to get a press conference next week, but the conversation is going to be around all the stuff we've already talked about. So those are my three. Moose, do you have anybody on our list that we already went with?
Can win. We don't overlap. I didn't know how far I wanted to stick my neck out here.
I do have 14, right?
14 I have 14 can win. I have Spieth because, like, what else would inject this PGA with more, like, oh my God, here we go, than Spieth winning the week prior. I have Ludwig can win. I also want to see him win, like flash before the major, get me excited about you. Another storyline we can look into. And then I wanted a longer shot, so I went down the board, like Tillinghast design, a consumer of the finer things in life, history, fabrics.
I know where you're going.
Cashmere Keith. Yeah. This is going to make me feel really smart on Thursday when he's up by 2, and then like an idiot when he's like,
well, he's going to be up by 2.
Sweating the cut on Friday. Clip it. Cashmere Keith can win at the Truist. I was trying to find like an old world feel to take us to Philly Cricket Club, and that's where I found it.
I was going to say we'll clip it for you to post on Thursday, and then we'll just forget about it.
And then it'll just go away. The algorithm will go away. Moose, I'll let you keep cooking because you're cooking right now. Who's not going to win this week?
Can't win. We do have
will not win.
We do have overrated here. Tommy can't win. Tommy can't win. Tommy can't win until Tommy wins. Like my Rom point, I will be the last one there. I'll miss the first party. I hope to be at those that follow, but we do it way too often. I got to see it. I got to see one go in. Tommy can't win for no other fact than he has not won. I have Corey Connors as a can't win, kind of a mid-tier 30-1 number, a guy that like is going to make me sweat because he's going to be around the lead Saturday and Sunday, but he can't win. Another one where like applause to that man for looking into the eyes of some of those that he has recently and like playing really good golf. But I think that there's also an awareness that I'm not that tier. And when rubber meets road and that tier is what you're trying to chase, I don't know that he can catch it. I don't have a third can't win. My beautiful boy Minwoo feels a little bit volatile for what you're going to need to do at Philly Cricket Club. So just to fill out the list, I'm going to say Minwoo can't.
Okay. Yeah. A little crossover there as well.
Not a stretch.
Patrick, I'll let you run. You look like you're ready to rock.
Yeah, I'm ready to go. Rory McIlroy cannot win this week.
God, I almost did it.
We've already talked about the press tour. So many distractions in that locker room. They need a player-only meeting or something right now.
Speaking of the best year of his life.
Yeah. Just not loving the McIlroy locker room right now. Speaking of locker rooms, Colin Morikawa can't win. It's kind of like a hockey team putting a new coach on the bench with Joey G. I like it. I actually kind of think he might win this week, but he can't win for this segment. And then finally, Ludwig Oberg can't win this week.
Okay.
I would love to see a great iron performance from Ludwig this week because then he is very, very, very live next week, I think. But it's been a bit uninspiring outside that Masters, really, since that win at Torrey Pines. So I'm going to say him, and I don't feel confident with those three. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think you contradicted yourself 4 times within your can't win.
Typically how I roll.
Like, I think he might win, but for this segment, he's not going to win. I got Minwoo not going to win. Last time I said Minwoo was not going to win, he went on to win. I got Victor Hovland is not going to win this week. He's going to play well. He's not going to win. And I got Rory as well. I got Rory not winning this week. I think he plays well and he finishes 5th, but he's not going to win because he, of course, is going to win next week. My pick to win this week, controversial in this little sphere of ours. I got Tommy Fleetwood, victorious, first PGA Tour victory of his career, doing it at a golf course that not a lot of people know. I think he'll play Philly well. I got Tommy Fleetwood victorious. Patrick, who you got?
My pick to win is not anyone I mentioned because I just scrolled past his name on this sheet I'm looking at. It's Keegan Bradley. He is going to win this week. He's going to win in his hometown of Philadelphia, just a stone throw away from where he grew up. And quietly, this man is striking the absolute cover off his golf ball to no one's surprise. So Keegan Bradley, big Ryder Cup meeting tonight. And I think he's the big winner by week's end.
There you go. Moose, who you got winning?
Well, let's cement the name on that Ryder Cup team, if not already. I have Jordan Spieth winning this tournament.
Oh, okay.
I know I had him on my can win list. I know it's sort of, if we want to go back, a dream scenario. I just think that, like, if you want to go Manalytics on it, the dude smiled a ton last week. And
smiles.
We haven't seen, like, the body language was better. There were still the moments of Michael trying to have to dial him back in, but, like, he seemed a little bit more at peace. He seemed to be having fun. Maybe it's easier to do that out at TPC Craig Ranch than it's going to be at Philly Cricket Club or at Quail Hollow. But, like, let's ride that 62 into something. I'm picking Spieth to win.
Sleepers, who you got, Moose?
Sleeper. So just so I'm not breaking any rules here on the podcast, you define sleeper as what number or longer?
Nah, just
like we like a 30 plus.
No,
not far enough.
I'm not sleeping on those guys.
You're not sleeping. So you're not sleeping on the Henley, the Matsuyama, the Corey Connors. Looking at the odds list right now, Shane Lowry at 35 likely does nothing for you. Sepp Straka at 40, sleeper.
Sure.
Give me Sepp Straka at 40. Well, okay. Well, I don't want to sour what's been a lovely hour shared with you, gentlemen. So let's go further down the board, and you can give me Justin Rose at 65-1. Rosie's going to make us all remember. Justin Rose, 65-1.
I like it. I like it. Patrick, how far down the list did you go? You might not have picked somebody in the tournament, for goodness sakes, with your scrolling.
I'm not gonna lie. When Moose was describing Kashmir Keith, I thought he was gonna go with Rosie. Then finer things in life. Yeah. So you caught me a little bit of a surprise. My sleeper this week is one of the most recent PGA Tour winners, Andrew Novak at 66-1. I know he just won as a team, but guy's still playing some awesome golf. So give me Novak.
I don't know the number for Sam Burns, but he is my sleeper pick. He's been playing some pretty solid golf over the last couple of events, tied for 13th at the Heritage, T5th at the CJ Cup. What's his number? Do you have it?
I'm seeing 50.
50. I think that's a fair enough number, right?
Yeah.
Good
50.
value there. I love the value on Novak, too, at 66.
Yeah, those are great. I mean, follow our picks. I don't know if we've got one right yet on the show, but I mean, if nothing else, it sounds great.
A couple thousand units minimum.
Minimum.
So if it's Spieth or Rosie, I get to come on next week. Deal?
I think that's absolutely okay. I love that idea. Moose, we appreciate it, man. Great hour with you. Thank you so much for your time. Patrick, always appreciate the time. And again, I hope you guys like the background. And if you're around on Wednesday, I'll be doing the Creator Classic. So tune into that, and we'll have that on TV. And then we get right into Philly cricket in the next week's PGA week. So Charlotte will be a lot of fun. Boys, great times. Chat soon.